Hello traders, and welcome to Trading the Trend. I am Dennis, and this is my end of week look at the markets for week ending April 22nd. And right now we are looking at the S&P 500. A little scare on Friday. It got pretty low here. Matter of fact, this green candle almost turned red, and we did get a late rally, so we still have a green candle. And in this uptrend we've only had two red candles, so we're still looking pretty good here. I am concerned about where we rejected this white line right here, which was the weekly high of this last run up before we had that pullback. Well, we tested that high and then we rejected it, so that's kind of a negative thing. Not a big rejection, so maybe we can maybe it pulls back a little bit more and then we take another run at it. But you can see the last time we had a candle with a high upper shadow was this one over here, and the following week was a real negative week, so let's hope we don't get that. Let's look at some commodities. Got a lot of action going on in the commodities. Here we have the gold miners. That's how I play gold, and you can see this thing has just been shooting straight up, and then we challenged the swing high right here and we rejected that swing high. Not a big rejection, but we'll see what happens. We still finished with another weekly high, so things still look pretty good here. Just a little bit of a pullback. Gold itself is kind of funny because it's been kind of going sideways here for about 2 months. Can't seem to get any headway. But something that's really come to life is silver. Look at silver the last couple of weeks. It's just shot to the moon here. Pulled back last couple of days, but still a couple big candles. You had the big opening gap a couple weeks ago, and this thing is moving now. So silver's been a lagger, so maybe it's going to get going for us. And then we look at oil. And I've been talking about this blue 40-week moving average, and we had 2 weeks ago we had the opening gap, and then this last week on Monday we actually had a gap lower as OPEC was squabbling among themselves and whether or not they were going to cut production, and I guess they came to an agreement and prices shot back up. So this is an outside candle, so that's looking good for a further move up, which is going to be good if you're trading the Canadian dollar. Now let's take a look how this is all affecting our currencies. First we'll look at my strong week rankings. I have the previous week for comparison, and the big note here is the yen got slammed. It was weak the whole week, but then it really got slammed on Friday. We're going to have to look and see what the long-term effect on that move is. But the Canadian dollar still remains strong because of the price of oil. As oil keeps going up, we should see this remain strong. Matter of fact, the Canadian dollar is the strongest currency year to date. So we'll definitely want to look for ways of going long the Canadian dollar right now. Now let's take a look at some currencies. And actually I want to start with the Euro US dollar here, and these are all going to be weekly charts. We're just going to look at long-term trends, and we're still in this box here where we're still in that trading range, and we got near the top of it, and now we're starting to move back down again. So it's still a weak move so far until we break this big upward candle. This is just a normal pullback, so we could spring up at any time, but right now it's trying to move lower. And then we look at the Aussie US dollar, and we finally broke above this line of former support, now resistance, and we're still trying to get away from it. We touched it again this week. I mean, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row we've traded on either side of that red line. So it looked like it was going to be a bad week, then it kind of rallied, so we'll see where this goes for us. Now we'll move on to US dollar, Canadian dollar, and this just remains in a down move. I think this is like a 14-week down move, and we've only had one up candle during that 14 weeks. So nothing, even though the US dollar's been rallying a little bit, the Canadian dollar was still able to push it lower. So I'm in this trade myself. I've actually got a target down here at the 120 levels. So that's still got what, about 600 pips to go. So we'll see if we get there. Now let's move on to US dollar, yen. This one's kind of interesting because it's kind of going in two different directions at once. We've had this nice down move, and then we had this pullback. I actually was waiting for this pullback for a short entry, and we blew right through that short entry price. And we've actually got a very bullish looking 3-candle setup here, where this is like a morning star pattern. So this thing could shoot up higher, or it could turn around and head down again. So it's kind of at a crossroads. You notice this dotted line here, I actually have a short entry. If it does turn around and head lower, then I'll get filled. If it continues to move up, then I'll just leave it alone, and I won't get in the trade. Now, if we look at the euro, we'll look at the euro pound, and you can see how weak the euro is this past week, and how strong the pound has come on. We finally got above the 200-week moving average, which is usually a very bullish indication, but we spend 2 weeks above it, and now we pull back, and now we busted through it again. So long term, this thing is in a downtrend, so maybe we're going to resume that downtrend, but that's a pretty big candle that we just had. Maybe we get a pullback and then we head lower from here. Now we'll also look at the Aussie New Zealand. This is that head and shoulders trade that just cannot seem to get going, but it's still out there. I mean, we've had this pullback, and this past week, a bit of a pin bar reversal move up. Maybe this next week will be when we finally break that neckline and start to move higher. So this head and shoulders, it's still a valid play. It hasn't been invalidated yet. We're just waiting for the validation of breaking the neckline. And that's what I have for you for this week. Hopefully everyone's had a great week, and I will catch you later on my thread. Thanks.